In the time of the old gods, when Olympus was full and the world was younger, even the immortal could lose what they loved. This is the story of Aphrodite, goddess of love. And the mortal man she descended into hell to keep. His name was Adonis. His mother, cursed by Aphrodite herself for an old offense, had been transformed into the myrrh tree, and from her splitting bark a child was delivered. Aphrodite, who had cursed the mother, took pity on the son. She placed him inside a small wooden chest. She gave the chest to Persephone, queen of the silent dead, for safekeeping, and she warned the queen of the dead not to open it. Years passed, and Persephone kept the chest in her cold halls beside her throne, and she did not open it. She had been told not to, but curiosity is older than the gods. One night, alone in her dark palace beneath the world, she broke the seal and lifted the lid. The chest no longer held a child, it held a young man, the most beautiful mortal who had ever lived. And Persephone, queen of the dead, found that she wanted him for herself. The two goddesses warred over him in silence. Aphrodite called him hers. She had saved him, hidden him, kept the chest. Persephone called him hers. She had opened it, watched him grow to beauty in her cold halls. Zeus heard their quarrel from his high throne, and Zeus gave his ruling, a third of every year with Aphrodite, a third with Persephone, a third where the man himself chose. Adonis chose Aphrodite. For 2/3 of every year, the goddess of love walked the green hills of Cyprus barefoot with her mortal lover. She left Olympus. She left her temples. She left her husband, Hephaestus, the lame god of the forge. He had made her crown with his own hands. He had loved her since before he was cast from Olympus and broken on the rocks below. He stood at his furnace as she gathered her things to leave, and he watched her go. He did not call her back. He turned to his fire, and the hammer fell upon the anvil again and again through the long night. In Cyprus, she showed Adonis the wild olive groves of Idalium. She showed him the springs where her white doves came down to drink. She crowned him with myrtle when he killed his first deer. They slept in mountain caves when the storms came down off Olympus, and the lightning lit her face above his, and he looked at her as if she were not the goddess of love, but a woman. She had never wanted anything as she wanted to keep him, and she knew the way only the immortal can know what wanting a mortal will cost. She warned him.
Hunt the deer, hunt the rabbit. Leave the great beast to those who cannot die.
I am the hunter of Cyprus, my love. The boars are afraid of me.
He kissed her. He was 20 years old. He was the most beautiful man alive. He had the goddess of love in his bed. The world's largest boars seemed small to him. There was another god who watched them. Ares, god of war, Aphrodite's oldest lover, had shared her bed long before this mortal boy was born from a tree. He had been cast aside for a hunter who was not yet old enough to grow a beard. For months, Ares watched them from the high places. He watched the goddess of love laugh at a mortal boy's jokes. He watched her crown her mortal boy with myrtle. He gripped his spear until the wood splintered in his hand. A god scorned does not weep. A god scorned plans. One morning, Adonis rose before dawn. He kissed Aphrodite while she still slept. He took his spear. He went out to hunt the great boar of the river country, the one with tusks the length of a man's forearm. The boar he found was not a boar. The boar he found was Ares himself, hunched, bristled, eyes burning behind the animal mask. The mortal threw his spear. It glanced from the divine hide as if from stone. The boar charged. He fell. He bled into the wet earth. Adonis cried out for her. She heard him from Olympus. Aphrodite ran. She did not take her chariot. She did not call her doves. The goddess of love ran on her own immortal feet through the forests of Cyprus toward the sound of her dying lover. She ran through thorns. The thorns tore her feet. Where her blood fell on the white roses of the forest, the roses turned red. They are still red today. She found him in a clearing. He was alive when she reached him. Barely. His blood had pooled around him. His eyes found hers. She knelt. She held his face in her hands.
Stay. Stay with me. Don't go, don't go.
He died with her hands on his face. She wept, and where her tears fell upon his blood, anemones bloomed, small, scarlet, trembling in the wind. The flower of grief, the flower that opens and dies inside a single season. In the morning, the shades came for him. They were patient and they were quiet, as the dead always are. They took him by the wrists and led him down into the silent kingdom. Aphrodite watched him go into the dark. Then she rose. She wiped the blood from her face, and she followed. The goddess of love descended into the kingdom of Hades. She walked through the gates of horn no living thing may pass. The three-headed dog at the gate raised his great heads and growled, and then, recognizing her, lowered his heads and let her by. She walked past the river Acheron, where the boatman Charon waited for the dead. She walked across the dark water on her divine feet, and the drowned souls beneath the surface reached their pale hands up toward her light. She walked past the river of forgetting, and she did not drink. She walked past the fields of asphodel, where the gray shades of mortal men drifted in their endless wandering, and she searched their faces. Adonis was not among them. He had been taken deeper than this. She came at last to the dark throne where Hades sat with his queen beside him, and she demanded her lover back.
Give him back to me. Give him back.
The dead are mine, sister. This is the law that was set when the world was divided. Not even you may break it.
But Persephone rose from her throne. She had loved him too.
He is mine. I held him when he was small. I will not let him go.
The two goddesses faced each other in the throne room of hell. What they said to each other, no one knows, only that when they were finished, a new arrangement had been struck. 6 months above the earth, in the arms of love. 6 months below, beside the queen of the dead, the most beautiful mortal who had ever lived, eternally shared between two goddesses who would not let him stay dead.